Hey guys, welcome back to Reading with Me. Read with Me is on today. This time 7:30 Thursdays usually. So yes, it's great to have you back again. Please do subscribe. Put your comment down, like the video, subscribe. Thank you very much. Okay, today we have a brilliant show. We're going to be talking about the slave trade. I'll be reading out to you guys some fun, not fun facts, some facts for children that I gathered for the slave trade, just so that we're aware about our history and know where we're coming from here in the United Kingdom, how the West came to Africa, traded people as slaves, and use them to profit. So we'll be talking about that in today's reading session, and we'll also be reading um, about the Good Samaritan from the Good Book. So, okay, let's get started. We'll do our affirmations. I have a riddle that I didn't give the answer to last week. So I'll be giving you the answer to that today. So yes, so let's get started. I'll start by reading firstly our first story for today, which is about um the Good Samaritan. We'll get started with that. How about that? Okay, here we go. So that's the beginning of the story, the Good Samaritan. I'll show you some pictures. Yeah. Hang on. Okay, let's get started. Jesus was so popular that with the people that the religious leaders became jealous of him. They wanted to get rid of him, and some even wished for his death. Oh my goodness. Others tried to catch him out with difficult questions, such as, what do I need to do to have eternal life? What does God's law say you should do? Jesus asked the leader in return. I must love God with all my heart and strength and mind, answered the man. And I must love my neighbor as myself. But what does that mean? Who is my neighbor? To answer the question, Jesus did what he often did. He told a story. And this is the story that Jesus told. There was once a man who was on a journey from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he was attacked by robbers. They beat him and left him for dead. Oh my goodness. When he saw, soon after, a priest passed along the road, the same road. When he saw the man, he walked by the other side. Then a teacher of the law came along and said, Jesus, he did nothing to help either. He too crossed over and continued on his journey. My goodness. Why would anybody do that? You see someone hurt and you just walk by. It's not nice. Later, a Samaritan came along. He saw the man and immediately felt sorry for him. He gently cleaned up the man's wounds. How nice is that, guys? And with great care, he placed the man on his own donkey and he took him to a nearby inn. This is that story. So this is the chief priest, the priest walking past, not the chief priest, the priest. And this is the Good Samaritan. Yeah. Bearing in mind, days, the Samaritan and the Israelites were not friends. They didn't have very good race relations. But this one man saw somebody that was really in need of help, and he stuck his neck out to help him, and he didn't know him. That's amazing. Next day, continued Jesus, when the Samaritan had to leave, he gave the innkeeper some of his own money. And he said, "Take care of this man. When I come this way again, I will pay you any extra that you have to spend on him." The Samaritan did all this, even though the man was a Jew, and Jews did not like the Samaritans. Jesus looked at the leader like that. And he asked him, "Who would you say behaved like a real neighbor?" "The Good Samaritan," replied the man. "Then go," said Jesus, "and try to be more like him." Hi, Okenna. How are you, darling? I hope you're enjoying your midterm break. Okay, we're continuing with our stories today. But before we continue with the story, we'll do our affirmations. Can you tell me something about yourself, Okenna? Hang on. Let me get something. While I share my video. Hear me. Yes. It's cool. I am special. Say it with gusto. I am special. I am a genius. Come on then. I am unique. I can do anything. I am not ordinary. I'm not ordinary. No, 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 no. I am confident. I am creative. Yes, you are special. I am super intelligent. I am loved. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, I can do anything. Now shout it out. Your name. Who is this person who is special, a genius, unique, can do anything, not ordinary, confident, creative, super intelligent, loved, fearfully and wonderfully made? Shout out your name. I am Uzo. Brilliant. Yes. I am loved, Okenna. I am loved. I'm loved by God. I'm loved by my family. I'm loved by my friends. I am loved by me. I love me. Yes, great job. Okay. Last week's I've stopped sharing this screen. Last week there was this riddle which we didn't quite do. I can't find it now. Oh dear. Just 1 second. I'll try and get it. Okay. Where are you? Come up, come up. Yeah, there you are. Okay. Can you see it? What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? If you think you know it, put it down in the comment section. Okay, so let's move on to our second story for today. We're going to be looking at the transatlantic slave trade. It's packed full of facts for kids. So open your ears. Let's hear some history, guys. If you're out there, put down your name in the comment section. Let's know you're here. Subscribe, like, and put your comment down. Hello, Evelyn Magani. Can you put the name of your child so that we know the name of your child is here? You put down your answer, I believe, for the riddle. I'll give out the answer at the end. Okay, so let's move on to the second story for today, which is facts about the transatlantic slave trade for kids. Are you ready, guys? Are we ready? Are we ready? My goodness, what's this? Yes, we got it. Okay, I'll start. 1 second. Yes. So we'll start with this ship. So, are we ready? Can you see it? Let me take myself off the screen so that it's kind of big enough for the whole screen. Is that much better? Okay. So, let's talk about this ship. Way back, way back, a long time ago, we're looking at the early, hang on guys, sorry, I didn't know this was here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my own slides so that we're not sharing the same. Where is this? Show. 1 second, guys. Oh, there it is. Yes. Okay. So the slave trade was actually started by the Portuguese. They are the ones who started slave trade way back. So we're looking as far back as 1526. And then it was taken over by British sailors. They were involved in the trade and they continued. It increased in the 18th century when the Treaty of Utrecht gave them the right to sell enslaved people. So what they did was they went to, hello, Zadok and Tobiel. It's great to have you on board. I believe it's your first time. Thanks for coming. So what happened then was that treaty gave them a right. It's such a horrible treaty, I think, but it's what increased the British people from sailors from leaving the ports of, like Liverpool and the like, and going to West Africa mainly to enslave the people of Africa and sell them for, you will know, I'll tell you that later. Okay, so where's my screen that I'm sharing so I can go to the next slide? Hang on, I don't know what I'm sharing here. So many things out here. Is it this? No, it's not this. Forgive me. Is it this? Yeah, it's this. Oh no, it's not. Come in, guys. There it is. Oh no, it's not. 1 second. If I move this, will it move? No, it wouldn't. Let me close down these screens and get this up. Okay, there it is. So moving on. Now you can see this photo. Can you see the triangle there? It was actually called the triangular trade because of that triangle that you can see. Yeah. So now the top of the triangle is actually Britain. So what Britain did was from the top of this here where you can see my cursor, they traveled all the way to Britain sorry, to West Africa. They gave them stuff, things that they brought with them to exchange for the slaves, things that they used as they thought they would value, and they bought those slaves. Now, let me tell you something. So the people then, some of them sold those slaves out of just sheer greed or wickedness. Some others actually sold them because they were scared that if they didn't give the British sailors people, they will take them instead. So that's no excuse, but they did hand over their enemies, or they go in and get people from their houses, or the British sailors themselves will go in with their guns and enslave people, take them to the ports, put them in very bad conditions, and transport them, I will tell you where, to this other part of the world, the Americas. So this is like the Bahamas area. This is all America, this leading into America. So they go from here, take the slaves, exchange them for whatever they brought with them, and then go to the Americas, sell them, and then they return back home, but with stuff that they bought with the money that they use. So you can guess why they did this. You can see this. This is why they did it. Who can guess? Who can give me a guess on why you think the British sailors went and bought people and then took them to Americas? Why? What motivated them? What do you think, guys? If you think you know, put it down in the comment section, please. So we have about 12 million African people being enslaved and taken to the Americas. 12 million people. That is an atrocity, if you tell me. So they sailed from ports, including Glasgow, Liverpool. We saw that ship leaving from Liverpool. They left from Bristol. They went to West Africa. The slaves were exchanged for things. You can see we have brandy here. So they exchanged them for goods such as brandy, such as guns. Then the slaves were taken. Now, this part, leaving from here, from West Africa, here to the Americas, this is called the Middle Passage. This is called the Middle Passage. And then from here, after they've exchanged them, they return back home to the ports in the UK. So they were taken via the Middle Passage. This is called the Middle Passage, across the Atlantic, and sold to the West Indies, to Britain, or to North America. So how many of you can guess how many people died due to the terrible conditions on board the ships? How many of you can guess how many million people died? So there is. So you can see from Europe, which is here. So they took stuff with them to Africa. So like guns, like brandy, like beer, all sorts. Exchange them for people. And then this blue line, they took them to the Americas. And then from the Americas, they returned back home after they've sold them. But coming back, they came back with stuff like sugar, molasses, wood, and some slaves as well. Yeah. So what was the motivation, and how many people died in the Middle Passage? This is the middle. It's called the Middle Passage from here to here. Yeah. So lines 4, 5, 6. This is called the Middle Passage. As many as 2 million enslaved people died on the way due to the terrible conditions on board the ships. 2 million people. Wowza. So many of them died and were buried at sea. How horrible is that? Okay, so moving on. Let's move on. Yes, that's the motivation, guys. You can see that. That's the motivation. That's the motivation. Money. They did it for their gains, for the economy, for what they could personally get out of it. That was why they did it. Moving on, guys. Right. This is my favorite part of the story. Now you can see this shows that they tried to fight back. So we're looking now at the abolition, things that led to the end of slavery. Firstly, people resisted them. Yeah. So, like I said initially, some African rulers refused to sell people to the traders. So sometimes villages attacked the British ships and set those people who were enslaved, set them free. You know, sometimes also they fought back on the ship, and this is called the Amistad. This happened in 1839. So what happened in there was that they rebelled against the white sailors on board the ships. You know, they were like, no, you're not going to take us, but you know, you're not taking or you're not enslaving us and all that. And they fought back, they fought back, they fought back. So they didn't all just sit pretty. But unfortunately, they didn't, you know, they were not sailors. They didn't know how to steer the ship, you know, towards where they wanted it to go. So they still ended up in the Americas. However, when they got there, there was some trial, this, that, and the other. But this is just to show you that some people, some of the black enslaved people fought back, fought back, fought back. They didn't just sit pretty. Now, the most famous resistance leader was Toussaint Louverture. He led a successful revolution overthrowing slavery in the place now we know as Haiti, as far back as 1791. And that is why now it's now a new nation called Haiti. But people fought back and refused to be slaves to other people. Okay, so moving on. I love this guy. He's actually a Nigerian guy. Who knows? This is another person who fought against slavery. He's called, who knows what his name is? He's called Olaudah Equiano. Olaudah. He's actually a Nigerian. He formed the Sons of Africa, and he campaigned against slave trade way back in 1789. He actually wrote a book talking about his experience as a slave. Talking about his experience as a slave. His book was way back then, 1791, his book was an international bestseller. Yes, it was translated way back then in many languages. And he just used it to show people the horrible conditions in the ships, aboard the ships, how he was treated as if he was not human. Okay, some other well-noted abolitionists was William Wilberforce. He was actually an MP, a white guy. He was an MP way back then in the 1700s, 1787. He represented the committee for the abolition of slave trade in Parliament. So he was always pressing Parliament, wanting slave trade to end. William Wilberforce is well known. Other things that abolitionists did way back then was that they boycotted sugar, because what the sailors did, for instance, was in the West Indies, was to buy sugar and bring it back to Britain. And in Britain, some people boycotted sugar. They said they were not using sugar anymore. They kept on writing petitions. They published leaflets. They went on tours showing chains and irons and the model of the slave slave ship. This ship is called the Brook. It's actually, they use that to show people the conditions in which they were putting people in, and this actually had, a huge effect. The tours, the powerful images of the cramped conditions of, for instance, the Brook, it helped to change public opinion, allowing the abolitionists to write letters to Parliament with thousands and thousands of signatures. There's some evidence that the slave trade was also becoming less profitable. So the price of buying enslaved Africans was rising. It kept rising and rising. So all of this together, it led to the end of slavery. Now that's a picture of William Wilberforce. Bless him. He actually fought also in Parliament, using his wisdom and his knowledge to tell people that we have to end this. It's not right. It's wrong to go and take people and enslave them. So yes, so he was one of them, William Wilberforce. Protecting profits seemed to be a huge deal to ending slavery. The end of slavery here in the UK wasn't achieved until a law was passed in 1833, and it was put in place in 1834. However, people's profits, their money was so important to them that they were given 20 million pounds worth of compensation. My goodness, 20 million pounds worth of compensation. However, the enslaved people were not given any compensation. I guess they thought their freedom was all they needed, and they didn't compensate them. Again, I don't know what has happened ever since. They were expected to still work long hours, punishments, flogging, and all that. And yeah. So I'd like to highlight some other abolitionists in America. I'll show you. This lady is my heroine. I love her. We talked about her last 2 weeks ago. She's a conductor, known as a conductor of what was known as the Underground Railroad. What this woman did, Harriet Tubman, was she freed about 300 slaves. Amazing. 300 slaves using the railway underground railroad was actually a network of houses, safe houses. So during the day, they'll stay in the houses, and then they're going towards the north, going towards Canada, because there, you remember I said that slavery in the UK and its territories, it ended in 1833, 1834. So they had to go to those places where slavery had been abolished, but there was still slavery in America. So she freed on her own. This woman is I don't know what to call her, on her own. And they said if anybody tried to, maybe they wanted to change their mind, to return back to where they are coming from, they said, Tubman will pull out a gun and said, you'll be free or you will die a slave. So you choose one now. So let us start killing you too. Because she knew if those people turned back, they will put her and the other people in danger. This woman did it single-handedly. This woman did it on her own. Other known abolitionists is this man, Frederick Douglass. Again, he kept on campaigning. He was very, very well read. He started a magazine that, appealed to people's consciences as well. He actually worked, I think, in Congress in America as well, way back when. So these are some of the guys who fought against slavery in their own ways. They did something. They didn't just sit down and keep quiet. Yes, I can see what Zadok and Tobias said. They took them to the Americas, to the plantation. They took slaves to the plantation to work and to work and to work for nothing. They didn't pay them, took them from their culture, took them from their everything they knew, their environment, their family, separated them, treated them harshly, which wasn't nice, really. But yeah, the abolition came in 1833, 1834. And yes, William Wilberforce, the other guy, Frederick Douglass, not Frederick Douglass was in the Americas. Wilberforce was in the UK. Oluwada, I think Oluwada is the guy's name. He was in the UK. He was campaigning against slavery in the UK. So this guy, yes. So yes, I guess you now know a few facts. How many people were enslaved? About 12 million people were enslaved. How many died on the way to the Americas? About 2 million people died. Where were they taking them to? They were taking them to the West Indies, to the Americas, and to work on the plantations for free, for nothing, in harsh conditions. And the way between on the Atlantic from West Africa to the West Indies, to the Americas, is called the Middle Passage, and it is famously called, or it's known as the transatlantic slave trade. So this is where the British sailors came from Liverpool, Glasgow, Bristol, took stuff with them, went to like brandy, guns, and the like, went to Africa, exchanged those for slaves, and then took them via the Middle Passage to the plantations in the Americas, sold them there for money, and returned back with sugar to the UK. And then the abolitionists, people like this guy, Oluwada Equina. Yes, that's his name, isn't it? Oluwada, let me get his name. Yes, Olauda Equiano. He fought using his book, talking about slavery, about his experience. People like William Wilberforce here in the UK, people like Harriet Tubman, my heroine. She freed about 300 slaves on her own, using the underground rail works, the safe houses, network of safe houses. And we have people like Frederick Douglass as well, who fought against slavery using his magazine, working in Congress and all that. So yes, everybody did what they could to free slaves. Not everybody, some people, because it was mainly what was being done then. But it's always important when you see people who are being mistreated, speak up. Don't keep quiet. Speak up. Don't be quiet. Don't think, oh, everybody is doing it, so, or the majority. Don't keep quiet. Guys, speak up, because your voice will always make a difference. Right. Thank you for joining today. The answer to our riddle, you got it right, Zadok and Tobiel. Okay, I didn't see you put down anything. The answer is indeed short. If you add ER to short, it becomes shorter. If you add ER to short, it becomes shorter. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you haven't subscribed, Zadok and Tobia, please do subscribe. If you've watched right to this point, please do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave your comments down below. Thank you. Today we're going to end this session, this series. We'll come back probably in December. We'll be back in December, the first 2 weeks in December, to read some Christmas stories. How about that, guys? So I'll be going offline till the next, I think about yes, for the first 2 weeks in December, and we'll be reading some Christmas stories. If you haven't bought my book yet, my name is Emeka. That's it there. My name is Emeka. This is just this is not for resale. That's why you have the line across it. This is just for proof for me. I don't have the book out. What I have is the ebook. If you haven't gotten this book yet, it's an amazing book. It's amazing. You will love it. Let me show you my favorite illustration in this book, actually. Hang on, I'll show it to you guys. I love this. Huh? Can you see it? Yes, I love this. So yes, do get a copy from Amazon. Remember, my name is Uzo Okoye. Type Uzo Okoye on Amazon and the book will come up. My name is Emeka. Is looking through the lens of an 8-year-old boy who moves to a different school, and then he's looking at understanding his experience of trying to fit into that school. Now, if you haven't had a copy, get a copy. Guys, thank you for tuning in today. I love you, Okenna. I love you, Zadok. I love you, Toby. I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you in December. Until then, stay safe and keep loving and speak up. Always speak up. Oh, thank you, Evelyn. That was a nice comment. Bye, guys. Love you. Take care. Bye.